Uber Eats driver comes out of this restaurant. It was his car and it just got stolen in front of the restaurant.
Quite the gong show here in Canada. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got an onslaught coming from the left, from the Liberals, attacking Pierre Poilievre, saying he might lose his seat now, which is complete nonsense. We also have China coming out saying it wants to partner with Canada to fight back against the big, bad, scary Donald Trump. Orange man bad, but red man good? But a bunch of other stuff here. Let's jump into this. So first up, we got a bunch of polling data here. This one's showing 38 to 38. This is coming from Innovative Research. Notice here the Bloc is back up to their 6 to 8% range here. The NDP tanking at 12. We got this one here. This is from Innovative Research. Just digging into the numbers here. You can see Pierre is polling at 57% Alberta, 40% in BC. So he's now winning BC over Carney. Ontario, he's also winning. You can see for Quebec that Mark Carney has 38% versus 30% for the Bloc. I don't believe that. Mark Carney didn't do well in the French debate. He looked terrible. Blanchette easily won that debate. We'll see what Election Day says. But according to this, Pierre is beating Carney at Atlantic Canada. That's probably because Carney has done nothing to push back against China's tariffs, against seafood and canola. So you would expect to see the Prairies one here flipped. Why would anyone in the Prairies in Saskatchewan want to vote for Mark Carney considering he doesn't care about Saskatchewan? He hasn't mentioned the Chinese tariffs once. Who knows how accurate any of this is? This one from Liaison Strategies, that a Liberal polling firm, showing 42 to 39. We've got this one, which is one I would trust, from Juno News. They asked the neighbor poll on this one, who do you think your neighbor would vote for? And they got 39 to 39. And you can see here the Bloc at 8 and the NDP at 10. So some of these starting to line now. You know, this one looks very similar. Got Abacus data with 40 to 37, NDP at 11, Bloc at 7. So this one's showing a little bit higher for PPC and Green. There's a lot of polling data here, but we know historically Conservatives aren't represented in polling data as much. So hopefully we see a surge on Election Day, Conservatives going way over this 40%. But based on the ridings, we have no idea to predict who's going to win. Minority, majority, who knows? Come on, Conservatives, let's bring it home for the good of Canadians and all ages. That's it, all ages. Conservatives don't win, the youth in this country are screwed. Really, everyone's screwed. And we're seeing stuff like this. So this is just my feed here. I didn't save a specific post. Look at this. They're all posting the same photo of Pierre Poilievre and running this. Poilievre may lose his Ottawa riding. They're trying to cut him down as a leader so people won't vote for him. This is a dirty tactic, and they're lying. They should be charged with misinformation, some sort of fine for lying when you have national media and people, government officials, media. I mean, this is coming from the Globe and Mail. You can see it here. Globe and Mail pushing this out. Poilievre may lose his Ottawa area riding as Liberals poised to sweep the region. No, that's not true. You guys need to be fined for misinformation. Same thing here. One Conservative source involved in Poilievre's campaign told the Star that the leader appears to be in trouble in Carleton. Is this CPC volunteer named Katie Telford? This is hilarious. If we look this up on 338, we've got Carleton, Pierre Poilievre's riding 50 to 41. That's not even close. They know this too. They're just pushing some slanderous, crappy story. On Poilievre, the exact same thing. 52% to 41. It's a plus 10%. Poilievre's not losing his riding. We also have National News Watch pushing this. Is Pierre Poilievre hiding something? His rationale for not getting security clearance makes no sense. This is trash and you guys know it. You're a bunch of liars. The leftist media in this country are all a bunch of losers. And with all this misinformation out here, Mario posting this one, which is pretty interesting. Looks like some election interference.
An old high school friend sent me this, and he keeps saying that I've seen at least 6 ads targeting Pierre Poilievre on Facebook. And not only that, they're being done by fake accounts. Final debate shocker, Poilievre breaks down on stage. This never happened. It's got the Toronto Star logo on it. It says FS Collectibles. When you click on that profile, 0 likes, 0 followers. That is a fake account. In order to advertise in any election, election laws say that you must register as what's called a third party. I can guarantee you this is not a registered third party, because third parties, which I believe to be an absolute ludicrous thing that's allowed, run ads like this.
Yeah, they should not be allowed, and whoever's running that collectibles page needs to be found and charged, put in jail for a year. Let's crack down on this crap.
This is the Canada Action Network. You see how it's sponsored? Paid for by Canada Action Network. These are the ads that they're running themselves. That is a third party. And when you click on it, it'll look something like this. Obviously, they're not going to have followers, but they don't care. They want impressions of all these ads and posts.
How many of these groups do the Liberals have? I've never even seen this one before. There's so many of them.
That they're promoting and advertising against Pierre Poilievre in favor of Mark Carney. This here I don't think so.
Somebody's breaking the law. There's what's going on.
Let me put it to you this way. This is what's also known as breaking election laws and potential election interference. Now, the question is, and the only question is this foreign election interference?
Yeah, is it coming from China? Could be. Could be from the Liberal Party. Could be from just some random person who doesn't like Poilievre or the Conservatives. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre having a rally in Nova Scotia. Fill in the room. It's so nice to just see people with common sense. This just warms my heart. With so many dumb liberals out there, this is nice. And one more shot here from Trenton. And we got a comparison here of Mark Carney's rally versus Pierre Poilievre's, both in Nova Scotia, only 2 days apart. You can see here, well, there's nobody there, where Pierre Poilievre filled another room. So the polling data, we'll see on election day. Next up, we got Mark Carney snubbing a reporter from the New West Times because he didn't like the question. This man's an arrogant, pompous jerk, and he shows that once again on display here.
Okay, we'll leave you alone for a bit, but we'll come back.
Mr. Carney, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you heard the UK Supreme Court ruling that women are... Can you let me know if you think Canada should have the same? Mr. Carney?
This guy's unbelievable. What a jerk. I've watched this thing about 5 or 6 times, and you can eventually hear what he says is, yes, I'm aware of it, but I'm not doing this right now, or something like that. He walks away.
Have you heard the UK Supreme Court ruling that women are... Can you let me know if you think Canada should have the same?
Yeah, it sounds like I'm not doing this right now. What she's talking about is the UK Supreme Court ruling that a woman is a woman. That's what she's talking about. He doesn't want to talk about that. I thought he was supposed to be a leader. He can't even take a question. I'm surprised he didn't tell you this is Canada. This is Canada. Crisis. We're in a crisis. We have to catalyze. Fundamental. What an a-hole. Carney the coward. What a disgrace. No class. Mr. Burns vibes. Next up in this bombshell news here, we've got China saying it wants to partner with Canada to push back against American bullying. As Table Salt says here, oh boy, my predictions are coming true. Don't do it, Canada. It's a trap. Do you think Americans will tolerate communism on their northern border? We're seeing this on multiple outlets here. Toronto Sun posting it. We've got this on CTV News. China doesn't want to partner. It wants a pawn. Let's be honest. This isn't about American bullying. It's about Beijing's manipulation. Mass in diplomacy. Canada doesn't need to pick between superpowers. We just need to stand on our own feet with conviction, sovereignty, and clarity. We don't trade one empire's influence for another's. We chart a Canadian path, loyalty only to our own people and principles, not for sale, not for sway, not for submission. This is a good comment here. So digging into this, it says China's ambassador for Beijing is offering it to form a partnership with Canada to push back American bullying, suggesting the two countries could rally other nations to stop Washington from undermining global rules. China is Canada's opportunity, not Canada's threat. Yeah, I don't think so, China. You guys are actively influencing and trying to sabotage our election right now. Beijing retaliated by importing large tariffs on Canadian canola and pork. Wang said Beijing is happy to drop if Ottawa drops its own tariffs. So Wang from China here says it knows its tariffs are affecting Western Canada and more other regions, and suggested this was not by design, and saying that Beijing sees numerous opportunities with Western provinces, noting spoke recently with Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe. Yeah, Scott Moe not happy that his province is getting wrecked by these tariffs right now, and Mark Carney does not give a crap about Saskatchewan or Atlantic Canada, or really all of us. Further says here, Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered a similar message during a recent tour of Southeast Asian nations who face some of the highest U.S. tariffs. This is a slippery slope here. They're setting this up so Canada and China can come together. Mark Carney's already business partners with Xi Jinping. He's already met with all these guys, the JCCC. He denies all this stuff. He was called out on it, exposed for being a liar when he was being praised on their website. He had their website taken down. I have video footage of it. You can look it up on the Wayback Machine. Mark Carney's compromised. He can't be our prime minister. This is ridiculous. Not only is he compromised by China, but he's got conflicts of interest out the wazoo. There's probably a dozen or more conflicts of interest he has with his stock options and stocks in Brookfield and the plans he wants for Canada. We've got stuff like this posted by Andy Lee here. It says, welcome to Don Valley North candidate Joe Tay. So he's been targeted by Once again, first was going back to the bounty capture thing. Now it's recent. He's being targeted again by China. She says, why didn't someone possessing coveted top secret security clearance alert the public about this massive foreign interference campaign against the Conservative Party and one of its candidates led by the People's Republic of China? No kidding. They don't want to talk about that. No. We see that here on the Bureau. So Conservative candidate Joe Tay paused public campaigning after Chinese threat warning. He goes on to say here he's targeted by Chinese election interference, and he paused his in-person campaigning yesterday following advice from federal police. This is out of hand. China is meddling in our election. Mark Carney likes it. He's in business with these guys. And yet Canadians are okay with this? You have Liberal supporters like, yeah, let's be in bed with China so we can slowly move ourselves over to a dictatorship here. Now look at these events on the timeline here. Mark Carney calls a snap election March 23rd. Bruce Flatt, the CEO of Brookfield, meets with Chinese Vice President He Lefeng, also member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee. It says here, meets with Bruce Flatt, CEO of Brookfield Asset Management on March 23rd, 2025, the exact same day that Mark Carney called an election. They're getting all their ducks in a row here. So going back over to my chart here, we can see Bruce Flatt right here, CEO of Brookfield Corporation, Brookfield Asset Management, who's currently bench warming the chair position that Mark Carney stepped down from to try and run and win the election. Mark Carney said in an interview, he's known him for a quarter century. He's known him for over 25 years. These guys are playing everyone like pawns. If you look at the timelines of this stuff, it's obvious what's going on here. China wants to partner with Canada now. That will likely include Chinese military assets in Canada. I wouldn't be surprised. What is Mark Carney going to do to our country if he wins? We got Oil Exec posting this one here. Laura Stone provides analysis on polarizing Liberal PCO report Joe Warmington asked Pierre about today. This was from yesterday. So that report that Joe Warmington asked about at that press conference, he apparently got attacked by all the other journalists for asking that. These leftist loser press gallery are a stain on Canadian democracy.
That is an interesting one. Laura, what do you make of this? This was one of the 4 questions he took today at his platform launch. Joe Warmington, I think, from the Sun chain, asked the question. And it does paint this sort of apocalyptic hellscape that is a low probability outcome here.
Yes, I mean...
Low probability based on what? On your paycheck at CBC, David Cochrane? Based on what?
I and I'm sure many people have never heard of this area of government. We had to sort of look it up and read the fine print that it's not really a Government of Canada document. It's a predicted.
Yeah, let's just dismiss this organization and all these people's hard work.
A measure. I would venture to guess that the bureaucrats of Policy Horizons are not getting fired in Pierre Poilievre's Canada after today. But look, I think it's clearly over the top, but I think that the sentiments are valid that are part of this, right? I mean, you see things like, by 2040, no one will be able to afford a house and you have to have inherited wealth. Well, like, welcome to right now, right? I mean, when we're talking about the issues affecting people, particularly young people today, it actually is true, right? I mean, people cannot afford to live in this country right now. And maybe we won't be hunting and pillaging and foraging in 15 years for food, or maybe we will, but according to this document. But I think kind of some of the ideas, when you strip back some of the exaggerative language, I think are valid and sort of what the Conservatives are trying to capture with their policy platform today, right? Their costed platform, which is life is really expensive and there doesn't seem to be an out. And so these are our proposals for it. You know, whether it deserved to have all the attention drawn to it today, I think that's another question. But I think some of the points made probably strike a tone with a lot of voters, particularly young people.
Yeah, but we're already seeing this with immigrants who come in with the fishing nets and they're illegally fishing because they're just used to doing that back home. They're not following our laws. They see salmon spawning area on a river, just taking advantage of it. They're already doing that. Now, obviously, these people need to learn the rules, but what's going to stop people in 15 years when people can't eat? They're going to go out and just pillage the rivers as much as they need to survive. We're already seeing a glimpse of that right now. It's just going to get worse. So we've got Ann Roll here saying, I looked up this department. Stone says it's not really a government department. Policy Horizons Canada is the Government of Canada's Centre of Excellence in Foresight. We empower the government with future-oriented mindset outlook to strengthen decision-making. It goes on to say here, Privy Council Office members include Horizon Service Canada. General Director is Crystal van der Elst. Crystal is the General Director at Policy Horizons Canada, Government of Canada. She is the former head of strategic foresight at the World Economic Forum. You can't make this stuff up. This stuff is all so intertwined. It's ridiculous. In the next clip here, we even have the Bloc taking shots at CBC, calling them out for their crap.
Adding a little bit of a last-minute stop to Yamashish this afternoon. Are you stressed out about the NDP making a comeback there while you're struggling against the Liberals?
Each time we stop somewhere, you create whole narratives about why we go there. If I was that kind of cynic guy, I would support the NDP, because I haven't been in the riding of my MP since the beginning of the campaign, and that's the end to it. I would support NDP. Please grab some Liberal votes. It will only help us.
CBC is getting out of hand far beyond a simple bias. He's got some kind of charm. You got to check out the story here from Chris Stacey. So after a rally, they go in to get some food and the Uber driver gets his car stolen. That's how bad crime is in Canada.
Hey, Stacey here. I just left the Pierre Poilievre rally in Vaughan. Came here with Pleb and a few friends to eat here in Brampton. And I'm standing outside here, just chatting. And a guy comes out from Uber Eats. There was a vehicle parked here when I came out, and somebody came and left with it. Uber Eats driver comes out of this restaurant. It was his car, and it just got stolen in front of the restaurant. So he went in to get Uber Eats, get his delivery, came out, and the vehicle is gone. Somebody came and stole his car while he was in and getting the Uber Eats order.
This is unbelievable. The crime is that rampant. There's people just waiting to snag cars. 10 years of Liberal soft on crime. Next up, we got Poopy Pants David Cochrane here. Doesn't like that Pierre Poilievre will be defunding the CBC.
All right, Kate, thanks very much. That's the CBC's Kate McKenna in Mississauga, Ontario. Now, Poilievre is also planning cuts to be able to afford his plan. First, he intends to defund the CBC, something he has long promised. He's also promised increasing cuts to government consultants, saving up to $10 billion. And he would end what he calls foreign aid to, quote, dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracy by up to $3 billion. It's not clear who exactly that would affect. Now,
it is clear. He's mentioned it. And if you're paying attention to the news, Cochrane, you would know that the Liberals just gave $84 million to an organization that is an arm of Al-Qaeda, as well as that $100 million to Gaza. And those are just recent ones. There's plenty of them. I could dig up, and I have dug up dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of them at this point.
And we did request a spokesperson or a candidate from the Conservative Party to talk about their platform, but nobody was made available.
This guy is such a loser. That's good. CBC should pay for themselves. No one got their business going under the world event. A terrible government loan had to pay back. Many lost way too much. You want to be a business? Pay for it like everyone else. Exactly, Cochrane. Next up, we got a panel here on CTV with Lisa Ritt. She's got a very interesting take here on people wanting to vote for who they think the winner's going to be, because you want to pick a winning horse.
Their messaging, basically, one around stability, the other around change, perhaps, they thought would resonate more.
I would say that both parties try to rejig, I would say, how we're presenting a platform. So in the case of the Liberals, what they try to do is separate out expending and have part of it an operating budget and part of it a capital budget. And it really did go over the heads of a lot of Canadians. And it does sound like it's going to be a nightmare in moving the machinery of government to do something like that. On the side of the Conservatives, they are relying upon showing revenues coming as they change the regulatory system in order to bring in more business investment. I mean, they've got a couple of people who have reviewed it and said that the numbers are good. They've got, Phil Cross and they've got Tim Sargent, who are well known as being involved with either Finance Canada or with Stats Canada. So they've covered off what they need to cover off in terms of the platform. But to your question directly, does it really matter? No one's listening to this stuff about platforms. What people are trying to figure out is how they're going to vote. I think, actually, if I want to put a fine point on it, I think people are trying to figure out who's going to win. And they want to be on the winning side. We're at the point where people want to vote with the winner. And that, in the world of a politician, is absolutely terrifying, because you don't know what they're talking about and you don't quite know where it's all going to go.
Interesting take. I think she's right, though. People want to bet on a winning horse. They want to bet on a winning politician. Vote for the winner, which is exactly the point of overinflated polls for the Liberals. The Liberals, no matter what they say, will cause Canada to be on the losing side. Save Canada and vote Conservatives. Exactly. If the Liberals win, Canada loses, period. It doesn't matter what happens, because either we'll see Alberta try to leave, maybe Saskatchewan, maybe BC. There'll be people revolting, people leaving the country. We'll have a brain drain. We'll have companies moving to America or abroad somewhere else. Canada will fall apart. Thought this was interesting. Mark Nixon posting this one. So Mark Carney says he'll be chairing the G7 this year. Except he hasn't won the election. Is there something between him and Trump that we don't know?
So a big friend of the pod is Ian Brenner, the geopolitical strategist, and he was on the pod last week, and he described you as a, open quote, generational mind for Canada on the global stage, close quote. In your view, what role does Canada play on the global stage?
So we play several roles. We're a member of the G7. In fact, we are chair of the G7 this year, so I'm chair of the G7. We're a member of the Commonwealth, which is the old UK grouping.
He's chairing the G7. Was he working with Trump this entire time to get into power? The one good thing, though, is our voting structure in Canada is very sound. There's scrutineers. The process is safe and sound. But has Mark Carney been working with Trump to get into power? That's the question here. China has already told Carney that he'll be PM. China wants him as PM. Donald Trump wants him as PM. What do the people want? So with all the Palestinian protesters, we have a journalist show up here who gets arrested for filming the Palestinian protesters. I can't show this footage, as you know, per usual here, but they take her down. As Kirk says here, Montreal police arrest independent female journalist. While this is happening, the Palestinian protesters are cheering this on. Our country is falling apart here. At this point, with China wanting to team up with Canada and all that stuff I showed you there, the connections there between Mark Carney, Brookfield, and China. If Carney wins this election, how many days would it be before we see China make its first step into Canada?